Hi, this is Katie with craftingwithkatie.com, and today I'm going to show you how I made multiples of this little postcard. I teach 2nd and 3rd grade, and I like to send out a card to welcome each of the students the week before school starts. So this is what I'm making. And this schoolhouse is cut from the Cricut Recess cartridge, which is this one right here. This is one of the light cartridges. You can see the schoolhouse. It had 4 layers, and it's really easy to layer, which is important when you're making mass quantities. This adorable back to school stamp is a My Creative Time sentiment. It came from this set called My Teacher Rocks, which has some really cute things for back to school and then teacher appreciation. Lots of good ones on there. What I did to frame my sentiment is I cut a little ticket from the new Art Philosophy cartridge. This is the Close to My Heart cartridge. And I just thought this little kind of a half ticket shape was really cute. So I cut the square and then also the little frame around it. And the last thing I wanted to mention was the bottom here. I found this paperclip paper that I really liked, but I didn't have anything to really go with it. So I printed this alphabet paper on my Cricut Imagine using some craft cardstock. And right now I'll show you how I did that. What I'm going to work on now is getting a strip of paper for the bottom of my cards. So I have the Imagine black and white cartridge in, and I'm going to just click print and cut. And I'm going to choose a rectangle that's built in. I think I'm going to start with the 1 to 2 inch one and hit the little pencil. And I want it to be about 4 inches wide. So if I go 2 inches tall, I should be able to get 2 strips out of that. Now I could do one big one, but then what would happen is the letters are going to be really big. So I might end up doing individual ones because I'm going to choose this pattern right here with the alphabet. So see, if I cut that in half, I'll still be able to tell that it's letters. But if I had a full 12 by 12, the letters would be huge. And then when they're those little 1 inch strips, you wouldn't be able to tell what it was. So I'm going to go ahead and try that. And we'll apply that. Okay, so I can see there that will look pretty good. Although just to make sure I have enough room, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to go to 2.2 inches just to make sure I can get 2 out of it. Because sometimes I've noticed with my Imagine it's not exactly 2 inches if I ask for it. Okay, and if I want to print a bunch on a 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, because I'm going to print this on craft cardstock, I can change my art quantity here. See how it looks with 6. That looks perfect. So I'm going to go ahead, and if you want to save paper, you can just look here to see. I'm going to need about 10 inches across and about 8 inches down. So an 8 by 10. So I might as well just put a full 8.5 by 11 on there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these. So here's one of the rectangles that I cut out using my black and white pattern on the craft cardstock. I love that look. And as you can see, I was able to cut 2 of these strips that I'll need for the card base from each of these rectangles. So the first thing we're going to do is use my corner chomper to just round the corners of this. Alright, so now that everything's rounded, I'm going to use my Color Box Cat's Eye chalk ink just to ink around the edges. And I'm not sure what color this is because it's actually pretty new, but that title, the name of the color just faded immediately. The sizes of these, this piece of craft cardstock was 5.5 by 4.25. So that fits in an A2 size envelope. And then this black layer is 5.25 by 4 inches. And I'm just using my ATG gun to adhere it to the craft. This paper I just love, and I found this, I was recently on a trip and got to go to a Hobby Lobby for the first time. Got a ton of paper. And I found this in this Paper Studio Schools Day pack, which I thought would be great for all the scrapping of my son's school pictures or for projects like this. So this piece I cut at 3 3/4 inches by 4 inches, and I only rounded the top because you'll see in a second the bottom part will be covered up. So that's going to go right there. And then my little strip, that's 3 3/4 by 1 inches, will go right under that. So then I used this brown kind of a wood grain paper that came from this little pack, which is by Basic Gray, called Life of the Party. And I just cut a strip that is 3 3/4 inches by 1/4. And to adhere this, I'm just going to use some Scotch Quick Dry. And I'm just going to cover up where the two meet. So what I'm going to do now is get onto my gypsy and show you how I create things on my gypsy when I'm going to make multiples. So I need to make 20 schoolhouses and 20 little sentiment tags. So that's our next step. Alright, so this is how I originally laid out all the little pieces for my schoolhouse and for my little sentiment tag on my gypsy. So this was the red area here. I set it up so that I knew I was going to have I set it up so I knew I'd have a 3 by 4 inch piece for the red. This was the black. Again, it was 3 by 4. And then I had a little 2 by 2 for the door and another 2 by 2 for the bell. And then the craft section was 3 by 5. But since I need to make 20 of these, what I'm going to do is put the different colors of paper on different mats. So I'm going to start with the craft. So I'm going to select the schoolhouse, the background, and I also want this little square. So I'm going to hit this button to group it and take that as well. And once they're grouped, you need to hit that button again so you can work with it. Okay, the next step is to add a new layer. So we'll hit that button. Sometimes it's hard to get that one to go. There we go. And I'm going to go to the layer, and I'm on it now. And since I had that first part highlighted, if I go to Advanced and I click, it'll show up on this layer. Now, it can be confusing to see everything behind it from my original layer. So if you click on the little eyeball, you'll just see the layer that you're working with. And if I go back to Basic and I hit this button, it will ungroup them so it's easier to work with. Okay. So I'm going to be using some craft cardstock that's 8.5 by 11. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this first one up in the corner about as far as it can go so it's still not off the dotted line. So I'll put it right here. And then if I go to Advance, I can copy it. And there I can put another one, and I'll just go as close as I can. My favorite thing about the Gypsy is not having to waste paper, so I try to take advantage of that feature. Okay, perfect. Now what I can do is group these two together, and again, hit this button again so you can work with it. And if I go to Advance, I can copy it. And I get back, zoom out. And then it's just easier to be working with a larger group at a time. And you can see this will be, if I do 11 inches in width, this is going to fit. I'll put that right there. And I'm going to group these two together to make it a really quick copy. So now I have all four as one group. And if I go back to Advance and hit the copy button, I can just pull them right below. And again, if you click this top left silver button and click on your screen, you can zoom in and get it situated just right. All right, so I have 7 inches going down, but it'll be 8.5. So what I can do now is use that space for these little squares. So we'll just zoom in a little bit. And I'll copy. Maybe I'll do just a few of them and then I can group them and copy and paste them. Okay, that looks good. So they're grouped together. Again, I'll click the button. I'll zoom out so I can see better. Go back to my Advanced tab, hit the copy button. Oops. Now, sometimes it'll just select one like that. That's all right. We'll hit the undo button. Tap it again. Here we go. All right, and I could probably get one more. So since this is still grouped, if you just click on one of them, it'll turn purple. You can copy just one. Oh, but now they're all grouped together. All right, that's not a problem. We'll just go back, ungroup all of them, and then move this one where we want it. Okay, so now I'm going to be able to get 8 schoolhouses and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of my little squares. And actually, I could probably get one more just to make it even 8 and 8. If I go right here, yeah, that'll work because remember my paper is going to be 11 inches wide. So I'll just go ahead and cut that, and that'll give me, like I said, 8. So if I cut it twice, and then I'll probably just come back and delete some of these, since I need 20, I'll delete 4 of them and move the squares up and just do a set of 4 and 4. I didn't want to bore you with all of the manipulation on the Gypsy, but I went ahead and went through the same procedure for all of the different layers that I did with the craft. And so this is just a little pile, all my little parts, and now it'll be a little assembly line to get my 20 schoolhouses put together. Now this schoolhouse, actually all the cuts on recess are really easy to layer. So you can just see you put your black one on top, and you have this piece here, the little roof goes here, and then you just add, oh, my little bells are over here, the bell and the door. And I went ahead and adhered one together. I used my Scotch Quick Dry, but I don't have the door on yet because I want to show you how I emboss that. To add a little interest to the door, I thought it'd be fun to add some embossing. So this is my wood grain impression plate from Paper Tray Ink. And if you've never seen anybody use these impression plates with a Cuttlebug, I just thought I'd show you that. It's super easy. So you put down your A plate and a B plate, and then you put your impression plate. And then you're going to want to put your, whatever it is, this is symmetrical so it doesn't really matter. But the side that you're going to want facing up on your card should face down, so it's really against the embossing plate. You'll get a little bit of embossing look on the back, but not as crisp. And then these are shims that I also got from Paper Tray Ink, and you place that on top. And then on top of that goes your other B plate. And just roll it through. And there's my little door. So hopefully you can see that embossing on there. Now I'm just going to go ahead and ink around the edges of my door just to make it pop out a little bit more. This is that same ink I was using before. And again, I'll use the Scotch Quick Dry to adhere it. And that's going to go right here. Now when I cut the door and I was using my Gypsy, I used the hide contour feature to hide the doorknob because I wanted to use my own. So what I'm using are these little Imaginis, I don't know what you call them to be honest, but these little black ones, they're not the rhinestones, they're just little flat metal pieces. And I have the black ones and I also have some silver ones. And because they're so small, you don't want to heat up your iRock too long. Actually, you do want to heat your iRock up, you just don't want to leave it on there too long. So we'll give it a few seconds. And I just found those at Michael's. And you just press it down and hold it for about 5 seconds, and that'll be plenty of time. Alright, so I have my little schoolhouse, and I went ahead and stamped my sentiment and adhered that together. So the last thing to do is just get everything onto my card. So the first thing I'm going to do is just lay it out and see if it's looking how I want it, which is perfect. And then I'm just going to adhere these two down with my ATG gun. Now, you might notice I'm not using any dimensionals or pop dots on this, and that's because I have so many of these to mail. And if I had to put extra postage on all 20 of them, it would get a little pricey. So this should be pretty good. And then also I have, since I did the postcard style card, it's a little bit less weight to it. So it should be under an ounce, and I'll be able to just use one stamp on these. So here it is, the finished postcard. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're visiting me on YouTube, be sure to come by and visit my blog, craftingwithkatie.com, and I've got lots more ideas over there. Thanks!